Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Windward Buddhist Temple family and our Dharma services. Today we'll be doing Nirvana Day and Remembrance services. My name is Annette Tashiro, and I will be your MC. We will begin with the ringing of the temple bell, or kansho, that signifies the beginning of a temple service. It is a deep and sacred ritual steeped in ancient tradition. It is the calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma or teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of the Windward Buddhist Temple. Please sit quietly in your seat. Please rise for the meditation, followed by the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana by the congregation in Pali and English. You can find it in the red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 7.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda.
Please be seated. Next, Reverend Barbara would start the Sambujo. You can find it on page 9 for the response in the red Jodo Shinshu service book.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. One of the most essential realities of life is to understand that everything is constantly changing. Nothing can last forever. Impermanence is not good or bad. It is reality. Experiencing real loss will always be one of the hardest things we must endure. However, understanding impermanence is also the seed of wisdom. Through the wisdom and all-encompassing compassion of Amida Buddha, we remember our loved ones here at Windward Buddhist Temple with gratitude and love. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Today's remembrance. We will now have the remembrance of all those individuals who passed away this month of any year. Reverend Brennan will hit the gong or the daiking several times to start. Then the names of the deceased will be announced. Please go forward just to offer incense. Then Reverend Brennan will hit the gong again for the next name. After the last name is called and the incense offered, she will hit the gong several times. We will then go directly into the Sutra Gassho with Amida in the WBT Supplemental Service Book, the purple book, purple folder on page 14. Betty and Herbert Imai. Akiko Sumikawa, Aiko Nishita, and Chisae Sumikawa. Takuichi Hiramoto. Janice Uno. Jack Dio. Matsu Zaemon and Kyo Kukino. Jovio Parker and Elizabeth Parker.
His light shines throughout the world. I Gassho with Amida. Flowers bloom and flowers fall. From the seeds sprout new flowers. This is the truth unchanging. I Gassho with Amida. Springtime brings the happy birds. Their songs all praise Amida. I join them in Nembutsu. I Gassho with Amida. When I call Amida's name, it's Amida calling me. Buddha's voice, my voice are one. I Gassho with Amida. When I'm lonely, I recite Namo Amida Butsu. Then I feel great compassion. I Gassho with Amida. Nembutsu in work and play. Every day with Amida. Every moment filled with light. I Gassho with Amida. Remember the golden chain. Kindness to all living things. I will follow this teaching. I Gassho with Amida. In the clear bright morning sun, in the fading light of day, in the silence of the night, I Gassho with Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. I live in great compassion. This great power guides my life. I Gassho with Amida. Namandabu. 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 The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo
Namo
Amida Butsu.
Amida. Please rise for the recitation of the Creed, Ryo Gemmon, in the red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 4. The Creed. Namo Amida Butsu. Entrust yourself to me. I will liberate you just as you are. This is the calling of Amida. My blind passions are embraced in Buddha's awakening. So the Buddha calls to me. I will liberate you just as you are. Gratefully responding to the Buddha's call, I find that I am already on the path that leads to the Pure Land, and the Nembutsu flows freely from my thankful heart. It is due to the guidance of Shinran Shonin and successive spiritual leaders who have transmitted the teaching to us today.
Living with the Dharma as my guide softens my rigid heart and mind.
Gratitude for the gift of life I have received frees me from becoming lost in greed and anger, and allows me to share a warm smile and speak gentle words. Sharing in the joy and sadness of others, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please turn to page 174 in the Praises of the Buddha book. And we will sing with these hands. Okay, I'll introduce Reverend Barbara to the podium for our Dharma message of the day. Sorry.
Please put your hands together. As we celebrate life and death, the life and death of Shakyamuni Buddha, we remember the teachings which give us direction in our lives, and we are able to live with kindness and express our gratitude for Amida Buddha and Shinran Shonin's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning and aloha, everyone. And welcome my Nihongo class Betsuin members. Well, February has several significant dates, many dates actually, but today I would like to share two of them. One is Nirvana Day, when the Buddha passed into the Pure Land. And the other is February 19th, 1942, the day Executive Order 9066 was signed. This order, signed by FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, led to the incarceration of over 120,000 Americans of Japanese descent, half of whom were children. This past Sunday, February 18th, several of our Sangha members traversed over the Pali and attended a special service at Hawaii Betsuin. This was a serendipitous trip. Although it had been planned for several months as part of the Passport program, it was a special service of remembering the tragic and unjust results of Executive Order 9066, as told by the speaker, Mr. George Takei, familiarly known as Sulu of Star Trek fame. He shared his own experience when his family was suddenly uprooted from the life they had in Los Angeles. His father was taken at gunpoint, as were so many others who were forced from their homes and lands without due process. There are many instances here in Hawaii where many individuals were suddenly taken away from their families. Executive Order 9066 allowed the military to forcibly remove and incarcerate these Americans of Japanese descent in Washington, Oregon, California, and Canada. People were stripped of their dignity, losing their homes, jobs, land, and friendship. It really is difficult to know and to imagine what people went through. Some of you may have heard of family or friends who suffered during this very difficult period, especially if they were leaders in the Japanese community, such as language teachers, Buddhist priests, businessmen, fishermen, and others. This unconstitutional and unconscionable policy was even upheld by the Supreme Court. It is important to remember this date, February 19th, 1942, to realize that any group can be vulnerable to unfair attacks based on economic, racial, religious, and or cultural differences, and that such an egregious law should never be tolerated again by taking away basic human rights. Well, today we remember something even more important, Shakyamuni Buddha, who lived over 2,500 years ago and whose awakening gave us the Dharma of Amida Buddha. Nirvana Day is the day for remembering the death of Shakyamuni Buddha. Nirvana is a Sanskrit word for the goal of the Buddhist path, which is enlightenment or awakening. Nirvana literally means extinction or cessation, referring to the extinction of greed, ill will, and delusion in the mind. We are familiar with the three poisons that perpetuate suffering: greed, anger, and ignorance. The Buddha achieved nirvana on the night of his enlightenment, when he became free from the three poisons. Thereafter, everything he taught was to help others to also achieve enlightenment. February 15th commemorates his passing into complete nirvana, leaving his earthly form behind. The Buddha died at the age of 80, when the monk Ananda had been his personal attendant for 25 years. He burst into tears because of the imminent death of his master. So the Buddha admonished him, "Enough, Ananda, do not grieve nor lament. Have I not always told you that all things dear and pleasant are subject to change, loss, and instability. Under the solid trees at Kusinagara, in his last teaching to his disciples, the Buddha had a lot to say about how to understand life. The following quotes are from the book, Teaching of the Buddha. If you're like me, you've seen or had this book for a long time, but rarely refer to it. I can see why the BDK Buddha Dendo Kyokai shares the book in hotels, as these quotes and words of the Buddha are so revealing of the Buddha's efforts to share the Dharma, the truth and reality of life. He urges his disciples to listen and share with others. My disciples, make of yourself a light. Do not depend upon anyone else. Make my teachings your light. Rely upon them. Do not depend on any other teaching. The teachings that I have given to you are never to be forgotten or abandoned. They are always to be treasured, to be thought about and practiced. If you follow these teachings, you will always be happy. My disciples, study together, learn together, practice the teachings together. The teachings which I have given you, I gained by following the path myself. If you neglect them, it means that you never really met me. My disciples, my end is approaching. Our parting is near, but do not lament. Life is ever changing. None can escape the dissolution of the body. This I am now to manifest by my own death, my body falling apart like a decaying cart. My disciples, my last moment has come, but do not forget that death is only the vanishing of the physical body. The body was born from parents and was nourished by food, just as inevitable are sickness and death. My disciples, the true Buddha is not a human body, it is enlightenment. A human body must vanish, but wisdom of enlightenment will exist forever in the truth of the Dharma and in the practice of the Dharma. He who sees merely my body does not truly see me. Only he who accepts my teaching truly sees me. During the last 45 years of my life, I have withheld nothing from my teaching. There is no secret teaching, no hidden meaning. Everything has been taught openly. And clearly. My dear disciples, this is the end. In a moment, I shall be passing into Nirvana. On this day, loyal, venerable Ananda begged the Lord to remain. May the Blessed One remain, O Lord. May the Happy One remain, O Lord, throughout the world period, for the welfare and happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the benefit, well-being, and happiness of gods and men. And the Blessed One answered, saying, Enough, Ananda. Do not entreat Tathagata, for the time is past for such pleading. Then the Blessed One said, Do you have faith, Ananda, in the enlightenment of the Tathagata? And the Venerable Ananda replied, Yes, O Lord, I do. Then how, Ananda, can you persist against the Tathagata even up to the third time? Nirvana Day celebrates the Buddha's conquering samsara and the promise that all beings can ultimately attain Buddhahood and their own nirvana. Jodo Shinshu followers revere Shakyamuni Buddha because he is the manifestation of Amida Buddha, on this earth. In the pamphlet, The True Steadfast Diamond Faith by Nobuyoshi Sato, he wrote, "The power of the Buddha becomes part of us, and unconsciously, the inner feeling of thankfulness and gratefulness appears in our thoughts and acts so that our lives become a life of thankfulness. We strive to help others and to be of some service to the world. Whether we farm or whether we engage in business, everything we do takes on a deeper meaning. Our kindness and gentleness appears as a pleasant smile. This eventually ends up as inventions and research so that there is nothing in this world which is not an expression of the Buddha's path." When we encounter the compassion of Amida Buddha, a lifetime of suffering disappears because we are embraced by Amida Buddha and we know that a world of enlightenment will follow. The resulting salvation is available to us right here and now, which is the essence of Jodo Shinshu. Yes, how fortunate we are to be on this wonderful journey to experience and awaken to the teachings together here at Windward Buddhist Temple. Namo Amida Butsu, with kindness and gratitude beyond words. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Brennan. Please rise for the Gatha, Quest of Life in the Praises of the Buddha book on page 126. And continue standing for the Nembutsu.
aided by the Amida Buddha's light of wisdom, I am enabled to see myself as I am, just an ordinary foolish being driven by blind passions. At the same time, Amida's light also is the medicine that cures the three poisons: greed, anger, and folly. Shinnan Shonin says in his letter that formerly you were drunk with the wine of ignorance and had a liking only for the three poisons of greed, anger, and folly. But since you have begun to hear the Buddha's vow, you have gradually awakened from the drunkenness of ignorance, gradually rejected the three poisons, and come to prefer at all times the medicine of Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please be seated. We'll now have announcements by our President, Dennis Tashiro.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Great to see all of you today. Thank you, Reverend Barbara, for that message today. Thank you, Annette, for being our MC. Thank you, Merle, for being our greeter. Thank you, Lisa, for playing the piano. And to Joy, who's our special audio, what do you call that? Audiovisual? Yeah, Ryan's working hard trying to earn some extra money. We have a few guests today. We have some friends from Betsuing: Carol, Ralston, Shirley, Fujiko, and Lillian. Would you please stand up? Stand up. And we have a friend of Ed, Todd Price. Todd, welcome. And we have a family back there: Emelisa, Christopher, and Philomena. Where's Philomena? Welcome. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Next Sunday, March 3rd, will be the first Sunday family service. After refreshments, we always have an intergeneration activity led by Prudence. She said it'll be a fun spring project. On March 24th, we will not have a service here. Instead, we'll be participating in the Hawaii Betsuing Spring Bazaar, as you can see up there. The bazaar will run from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We, Windward Buddhist Temple members, will be preparing and selling takuang, bitter melon, namasu, other pickled items, various manju and mochi, and other baked goods. If you'd like to help prepare the food or help sell them at the bazaar, please see Cynthia. We did it last year. It was a lot of work, but it was fun. A reminder that our gardening classes will begin Sunday, March 17 at 2 o'clock. There will be 10 monthly classes on the third Sunday of each month. The fee for the 10 sessions will be $20, and there's a flyer and a sign-up sheet on the back table. Reverend Bertsumikawa, as of March 1st, will no longer serve as resident minister at Moilili Honganji, so he'll be able to spend a little more time with our activities. Reverend Bert will be chanting the Sutra, Shoshinge, Shoshin Nembutsu Ge, what we all call it Shoshinge, and also Wasans every Saturday beginning March 2nd, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. If anyone is interested in participating, just show up at 9 o'clock. Then on March 16, Reverend Bert will conduct adult Dharma classes for 8 weeks from 10 o'clock to 11:30. The 8 sessions will end May 4th. The flyer and sign-up sheets available on the back. There'll be a fee of $5 for members, $10 for non-members. Also, I have more of the Zippy's benefit tickets. Come see, if you'd like to purchase the $11 tickets, and you can get a variety of things, as you can see. And I heard that Neil already used some of his tickets. Okay, are there any other announcements? If not, it's time to have some food. If you could turn to page 126 of the red service book for words of thanksgiving, or look up at the screen. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namo Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Thank you.